just need to put a little tag in the armor. Like, you just need to start that doubt creeping in just a little bit. Dapping.
Yeah.
Today.
Just remember the 3 types of goodness. Remember that they all, in the end, align towards the supernatural goodness and that beatific vision.
The battle can come out in many different ways. Like, welcome back, folks, to the Lost Sheep Podcast. I am Nazario Pangal here with
Cole Bissett.
and
Evan Aber.
And this is episode number 66. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, check out the Instagram, check out the TikTok, check out the merch as well. We are available on all the different podcast platforms as well. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, wherever you find your podcast. We're back for another great episode here on the University of Alabama campus. And tomorrow will be the first Alabama home football game. And folks, the vibes over there are not so great, but the vibes are better here in podcast land for us. How are you folks doing on this first week of September?
That was very much like a Josh Pate saying right
That
there.
was
Here in
that was a
podcast
Josh
land,
Pate.
you know?
Yeah.
That was such a shout out to Josh Pate. Shout out Josh Pate. Yeah, vibes have been pretty good. This week's been pretty great for me. Nazario will not be joining. I don't know if you're going. Are you going to the game?
No.
Are you really?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I sold my ticket.
What
Look,
in the world
honestly,
is wrong with you two?
It's you. No,
Well,
not doing this argument again. Never mind.
First home game.
Here's what I'm thinking, though. Look, we lost last week. If we win, that's great, right? It's ULM. Everybody will leave at halftime. If we lose, I'll not have wasted, my time. Either way, I'm $35 richer. I sold my ticket to Kramer, so, doesn't really matter. And I'll have the wonderful opportunity. Caroline and I are going to go hiking. So I'll have the wonderful opportunity to go out and spend time in God's creation. Now, football is also God's creation. But,
I believe that was created on the 6th day.
I think
football on the
was
6th
the
day?
fifth day,
Fifth
honestly.
day?
I think it was
Fifth day.
before, all the other important stuff.
Well, I mean, we do have 7 points for a touchdown, so maybe he didn't rest on the 7th day. Maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with that one. I wouldn't go with that one. But yeah. No, I completely agree with Nazario on this one. You got to sell this ticket. And then you can keep the next one.
I think
if
you
they're good.
robbed Kramer. I think $35 is kind of outrageous for a ULM game.
That's actually -10 on the student seats average for a lower bowl ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I can.
This is a conversation for a different time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest with ourselves here, Cole. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, other than that, how was your week, Evan?
My week's great, man. School's fantastic. Got the cool opportunity to see my dad this weekend. But it's that kind of that time in the year where it's just like kind of the grind is starting, I guess is the word, right? Like it's not a bunch of exciting stuff. It's not the start of the semester. It's not the end of the semester. Like, it's just assignments every day, go to class, test every couple weeks, stuff like that, where it's the regular, it's the slate, it's the fair of events, right? And you just kind of got to slog through it. So, excited to be in that term of the semester and ready, rearing to go. So,
You know what the highlight of my week was?
The highlight of your week, well,
You
it's
want
going to finish up today
Nazario,
with the
Nazario
third
with a
straight
+2.
day of disc golf.
The third straight day of disc golf. It does have to do. Nazario's +2 in disc golf has got to be one of the most. Actually, no, my highlight of the week, honestly, was you missed it. Nazario hit like a 35-foot banger of a putt. I mean, it was so good that the guys in the hole, like 3 holes down, started cheering across the board. It was insane.
It did indeed happen. It
So
did
you
indeed
were
happen.
you were on the juice when you
No,
shot the
I
+2.
yesterday I shot +4 and I was the crazy putts. +2 was 2 days ago and it was like legitimately playing.
He was
that
he was throwing just.
I'm
par golf.
Are y'all going to the hangar tomorrow?
good.
or today?
I don't know. We're going today.
I could go
yeah.
tomorrow. I would go
We-
tomorrow.
No, I might be
Tomorrow
able to
too.
go today.
We're going at what, 3?
3?
Yeah.
Can you do it a
Yeah.
little earlier?
This is a different conversation, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway,
Well,
yeah,
Back
anyway.
to podcast land.
Podcast Landia.
I played good in disc golf. It was a good time. But to introduce our quote for this week, actually, we're going to do that right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the quote of the week.
Yeah, so quick story of how I found this quote. Yesterday, I applied to, the graduate schools, so those applications are out there. Please pray for the lad. But
Applications. Wait, pause. Applications.
applications.
Plural. He's
So
got
where?
like 4 or 5 colleges.
Where
I
at?
wanna say.
We've got the University of Kentucky, which
UK.
is number 1,
Yeah.
Springfield College, Florida State, University of Denver, and Long
Wow.
Beach State in California.
How?
So
I just have a question real fast. This
Okay.
is like a 3-second question. How hard was it to do the FSU application this week?
the FSU one was easy.
That-
No, he's saying like
Emotionally,
monumental.
mentally.
Oh, well, actually, I did that one like a couple weeks ago before the
Okay,
game.
good.
So
good.
yeah, I didn't put that one together. If you guys don't know, he's talking because Florida State beat Alabama last week in football.
Yeah.
But so Wednesday, I went to the Career Center to get my essay, a personal statement essay, to get that checked one final time. And on the wall, there was this quote. And we talked about earlier, like, we don't have a quote. What are we gonna do? And we didn't really have any stored up in the chat. And I saw this one. I was like, oh, that's really good. And so our quote comes from, I think you say it's Jana Stanfield, I believe is the origin of our quote. She is a just public speaker around the world, does keynote speaking and conference speaking. But her quote is, Cole, would you like to do it? Because you can see it clearly and I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, I've got it right here in my notes. Okay. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I'm going to repeat that one more time for our listeners. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Yeah. So, I saw this, and Cole sent a different quote into the chat this week, so we were trying to figure out which one to do. I thought this one could provide us with a little bit more of a different conversation than Cole's, and hopefully it goes that way. So, just jumping off points, kind of basic of what we think about this quote is that, we have our part to play. We are all part of the body, but we are not the whole body in ourselves individually. It is a group thing, and we all have a part to play in it. We all are given specific gifts from God that we all do it in our own way to glorify God and to serve the kingdom and to serve the people in the world. And so, I think we are a great example of just how this kind of plays out and the different gifts that we're given. Obviously, we are not perfect people, but God has given us specifically very different gifts, and it's kind of why we like our podcast. We like to say Evan is the philosopher, Cole is the definition guy, and I'm growing psychologist. So we have the different ways, and also Evan, science as well, big into biology, that type of stuff. So we have these different avenues that we can kind of attack these quotes, attack our podcast from, and I think it provides for a really interesting conversation. But as we go forth, obviously, we're all still in college, but in a few years, very closer than we think, we're going to be out in the world in our jobs, and we're going to be doing very different things. And that's pretty cool. Evan, hopefully going to be working somewhere in the medical field at a hospital is what he hopes. I hope to be working with athletes through sports psychology. Cole, mechanical engineering, some form. So
Whatever that
different.
means.
Yeah, very
Lot
different things
variety
here.
there.
But we all can contribute to society. We all can contribute to the world. And we all can reach different people in those avenues. There's going to be very different people in all those walks of life. And that's why God gave us those gifts, so that we can reach those people and bring the love of God into those moments. So that's just the basic jumping off points that I see from this quote.
Yeah. A lot of basic jumping off points for this guy. It's funny, right? Because I'm Nazario's pen's philosopher, but oftentimes I look at the quotes y'all bring. I'm a terrible quote bringer. I haven't contributed a quote in weeks.
Yeah, well, no, I don't even
Maybe.
know.
I
Have you
wonder if
done
there
one?
was-
Have you
has there
given a
been
quote?
that
Maybe,
Evan's brought in a
maybe
minute?
months, honestly.
It's been bad.
Yeah, there's been quotes because I guessed as an episode, so I at least brought one quote.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true.
There is one.
Actually, when you were a guest, it was with Caroline, and I'm pretty sure Caroline
we did
brought the
two.
quote.
No,
we
we
did
did
Okay.
on
two.
2 episodes
So
before.
yeah, so I guessed it, and then Caroline and I guessed it.
She did the ships
So
one. with
she
the
did the
scales,
ships.
yeah.
Yeah. So this quote was it was more the quote that you suggested, Cole, was I didn't even understand what it meant. So I'm kind of happy we picked this one because I was like gonna have to really like go into the context of your quote and see what which we still do. That makes us sound like terrible researchers and we don't do our homework before. But that one was
Mine was very mystical.
Wasn't sure
in a
about that.
sense. I don't feel like it was terribly difficult to
Um,
understand, but
But
Back to the quote today.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about just my first thought was littleness. We always talk about this concept of childlike faith or dependency or whatnot, right? And I think that's kind of the first thing that came to my mind. Also, the quote, "You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you," which is Jeremiah.
No, it's Philippians.
Philippians.
Philippians 4:13.
Guys, don't kill me.
The default.
Yeah, but my first thought was, there's only one person who can do everything the world needs, right? And we continually tell him that we don't need him. And so, as humans, we're limited in our capacity to do things, but we're, like you were talking about, Nazario, we are called to do our tiny part, do our small part, use our skills, our talents, our abilities to fill those gaps of what we need. We were looking for a shepherd of the week before this, and the day we're recording is Mother Teresa's feast day, and we can't do Mother Teresa because we've had her as our shepherd of the week 2 or 3 times now. Shout out her, she's a great saint. But she learned how to use her skills and abilities to do the tiny things, right? Do the small stuff, and really care in the tiny places, find those gaps, find those little areas. And so I think it's just about a lot of this quote for me is about doing what you can where you can, and then kind of trusting God to take care of the rest is the second part. But the world needs all the good that I can do. Do your part. Trust that, your good is making a difference and that your good is being multiplied, which is, kind of my last thought. That, what you're doing is going to be multiplied in some way, shape, or form. We'll touch on that later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, Cole?
My
Or
initial thoughts.
are you
mine
ready
more of
to-
just like
Expand. Are you ready to expand, Cole?
am I ready to expand? It's kind of where I'm leaning towards. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
You're up, Cole. Go for it.
Y'all
You
haven't taken like a more. See, I like to dwell on words a little bit, particularly goodness right now. And so I have a first question for the two of y'all, because I love asking questions.
It always
Questions
starts
are my
with the
favorite,
question.
But I feel like that's how you start a good conversation, right? So, all right, let's just dive into it. What is goodness, first of all, and are there multiple types of goodness? And if so, this is 3. We're gonna do a holy trinity of questions here. Okay, what is goodness? Are there different types of goodness? And if there are different types, what are they?
Cole hitting us with another banger of a question. Evan and I trying to work the stall before Evan takes the microphone here. But
What is
feel
goodness?
like
Let's address that first. What is goodness?
I feel like there are different types.
No,
Well,
go line
different-
by line. Go line by line.
Well, I don't have a definition quite in mind at the moment.
Okay.
So I was going to go for the second question.
Don't skip it. We can't just skip it.
Yeah.
I ordered.
Yeah.
I ordered this in a way.
So
Mm.
while you're thinking, I'll kind of go with mine. I don't even have a definition of goodness. I'm gonna work through this on the mic as kind of I'm gonna think through it. So goodness, right? Break it down. Ness referring to an attribute, like kindness or gentleness or beautifulness. That's not a word, but so I kind of think it's breaking down what is good. Good, I think, for me, a derivation of Christ, a derivation of holiness, pertaining to being whole in something, being whole in Christ, being whole in spirit, being whole in mind and heart and body, and then truth. Goodness is being true. They often talk about like kings being good, like something being good, a leader being good when they were true and honest and loyal. And so I think, first, right, faith, being in Christ, based in virtue, based in holiness, and then, also based in truth, based in honesty, based in that type of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty good stuff right there.
See, that's why you don't let me take a swing first, because then you're like, oh man.
I mean, you just give me ideas, but yeah, Cole, what do you think of that?
I mean,
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
the first
whoa,
part of the
whoa,
question.
hey,
Y'all
hey,
are-
what's
y'all
your
are skipping
definition?
The rest? Yeah.
What's your definition?
Don't bail out on us.
What do you think of the second part, Cole?
What do I think?
Yeah,
There's
is
this
there-
is not a what I think. See, this is him. He's dodging a question
know.
and is
Wait,
trying to
okay,
reverse
wait.
it back on me.
What
His
was
inner
the second part?
psychologist
What was
is
the
taking
second part?
over.
What was the second part?
What was the second part? Are there different types of goodness?
You
There's-
were gonna say something about that, so go.
There's
go
different
ahead.
types of ways that goodness can be, portrayed.
I
There's different things you can
I
do
really
to
think I
be.
need a definition
good.
from you before you talk. Before you. Say
I don't
anything.
have a definition.
because you
Cole.
can't talk about goodness if you don't have the definition for what you're talking about.
You're just throwing this at. I
Do you
I
agree with
don't
mine?
know
Do you
how
agree
to.
with mine?
just say
You got-
just
you
wanna
gotta
agree with
help-
Evan's definition.
You gotta help your podcast partner right
Do you
now.
wanna
You
run
can
with mine?
see we're struggling.
do you wanna
Don't
just pick-
keep pushing it. This is awful.
Piggyback off of
Just run with mine. Just
Yeah,
run
Evan's,
with
Evan's
Okay. very
definition
good,
is
very
good.
good.
So, do you think there are different kinds of goodness?
There's different ways
I
that
don't even know
it
what that
comes to
means.
fruition.
types of goodness. Are there? I gotta hide my.
There's
nose.
different
This is
ways it
cheating.
comes to fruition. You can
What do you?
act good in a lot of ways.
I think this is like
I think they're definitely.
again.
can't say
I'm gonna
that.
break it down like metaphor wise. So Cole he wants us to say that there are definitely different types of goodness, but we don't know what they are.
You're cheating.
But I,
Gotta
I'm
hide
not
my
cheating.
notes.
I can't like I just I can't wait to hear his source, but I just don't know like that's like asking are there different types of kindness like I guess like physical, spiritual kindness, emotional kindness, like I wouldn't even know where to start on types of goodness. I think there are because of how Cole is being cynical about this. What they are, I have no idea. So
he needs to do a better job of not making us look so bad right now.
Yeah,
This
so
is just abysmal.
Cole-
I'm asking all like as this.
And
is,
when you are
the point
seeing
is
that
for
we're
me to-
struggling,
the
jump
point
in
is-
and give
Our-
us the
our
answer,
opinion-
please.
our opinion, no idea.
the point is for y'all to be thinking on your feet.
So
for
what
this.
are there different types of kindness?
of kindness?
Of
What?
goodness. Sorry, my metaphors
Really
run
good.
into
yes,
my brain.
I definitely think there are.
Okay, you
Um,
think there are?
No, there are.
Okay.
Okay, here's an example. First of all, and we've talked about this in the past actually, and I actually think this was from you. Funny enough, when we were talking about what we were talking about cake, I think, and
We're talking about
Evan's
what?
example cake last time we were talking about this, and you eat the cake and you say, what do I say all the time? I was like, this is amazing cake. This is very good cake. Like this cake is very good.
This does sound like a metaphor I would do.
See, remember? This is something Evan had said in the past. So that's just an example. So that's natural goodness. That's like the goodness we use to describe everyday things. Like, oh, that game was so good last night. It was such a great game. It was so good. Such an awesome game. That's natural goodness. Are you mad at?
No, I remember this vividly. All right, keep going.
Okay, there we go. So there we go. Next, there's moral goodness, and what does that refer to? Moral goodness. I'm trying
Morality?
to
I
get
mean,
I'm just trying
just
to
just
get all
take
upside down.
control, dude.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
moral goodness.
Yeah, moral goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
like
Okay, moral goodness in the sense of, okay, there's good and evil. I choose good. That's what I'm going to do. And then there's supernatural goodness. That's the goodness of God. That's the type of goodness that we participate in his divinity. And in a sense, when you were talking about your original definition of goodness, it was very much inclined towards that supernatural goodness.
mhm.
And so, okay, of these three, here's my next question. And I think y'all should.
Well, hold on a second. I think my definition encapsulated the three types of goodness perfectly,
I agree.
right? Because I did talk about how there's goodness based in Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's goodness based in holiness. And then I said there's goodness like it's good. And then I said there's goodness like based in like leaders and stuff where they are true and honest.
You said physical things as well, and you said
yeah,
spiritual.
like moral. So I think
He did.
without
hit
saying it, I hit all those points
Okay.
perfectly.
Cole's
I'm
just using
pointing that
different
out.
words.
Just shout out.
So Evan described the
Shout
three
out
types,
me. I
and then
described
didn't,
it perfectly.
didn't,
but
didn't say anything on the
I
three
had
types.
no
Okay.
idea what I was talking about.
My next question is, okay, what do we participate most in our day-to-day life? And if we do
Sleeping.
no, not habits.
Oh,
Out of the
oh,
three.
okay,
What do we-
okay.
What do we
Dude.
participate in the most?
Which goodness do we participate
Which-
in
yeah.
the most?
So spiritual, moral, or physical?
That's interesting. That's interesting. I could see an argument for every single one. If you could you not technically, in a way, in some parts of your life, mesh the supernatural goodness with the physical goodness when you are out in God's creation? You are enjoying God's creation and you are being like, wow, this is God's creation. This is God's goodness come to fruition. Are those goodnesses being meshed? And then moral goodness, I mean, when you're faced with a tough decision and battling through temptation, yes, but those don't happen all the time. I mean, a couple times a day for sure. So they definitely all three happen in a day. I don't know what I would say is number one. I feel like it depends on the day.
See, I would have to say moral goodness.
Okay.
Just because, I feel like every choice, yes, like I believe in the gray area, right? Obviously, like there's gray. Not every choice is black and white, but every choice definitely has a good and a bad option, right? Based on your morals, your ethics, your values, and your virtues, right? And so every decision we make are informed by those morals, values, virtues, and ethics. If I'm sounding like a psychology textbook, is this because it's from a psychology textbook? And so morally, every time we make a decision, we either make a decision towards our moral good or our moral bad, right? So no matter the decision, we're constantly making that decision. So like, for example, right? Like, I chose to drive here today and then walk from here to Cirque. And, I guess I could have parked illegally on campus, right? But it doesn't really match my morals or values. And I'm pretty healthy, and I like taking care of my body and knowing that I'm healthy. My ankles are killing me this morning actually because I went and played soccer last night, and they're always killing me after that. But it was good to like get out and walk. And so that's not a decision that's generally like morally good, bad, but it ties into my virtues, ethics, morals, and values. And so I think it's moral good, but I think also there's that crossover, right, that you were talking about, Nazario, of, there's every time we make a decision, we're choosing more than one good or more than one bad.
And
right?
and could you say that if you're participating, well, when you're making a moral decision, when you're in your moral goodness, and you make a decision that's for God, are you not participating in the supernatural goodness because the Holy Spirit is helping you to make that decision?
Yeah.
You're following God's will, so a mesh, as you say.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of that mesh of two goods. Or even like, we take the example from this morning of like me walking to my meeting, like that is a moral good. Like I made the right decision. I didn't park illegally on campus, but it's also
you also didn't sleep in, like you got to your meeting on time.
I also didn't sleep in on a day where I don't have class and it's 9:00 on a Friday. But I also and so that's a moral good. But I also did walk. Like that's a physical good. Like that's good for the physical components, our physical stewardship. And so it's kind of that. Or even like again, like going. Making a decision to pray versus not to pray. Like that feeds into both our moral good, that feeds into probably our physical good because it always calms me down and brings my heart rate down and brings me down to earth, but it also definitely feeds into our spiritual good, right? So there are even some instances where we get three. So, it is kind of, those decisions can have that mesh of good.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of, it's a verse from one of Paul's letters talking about that there's always a spiritual battle going on, and you're reminding me of that more and more. And after I said, what I said, and you started talking about that, I was like, oh, yeah, like the moral goodness is always there. That spiritual battle is always going on between our flesh and our, what's the other word?
Our flesh and our body, flesh and our soul.
Yeah.
Flesh and our soul.
That battle that's always going on between good and evil, and that the battle can come out in many different ways. Like you telling yourself, I need to wake up for this, and choosing to wake up when it's hard, choosing to walk when it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not like the hardest decision ever or anything like that, but you're still choosing that over the other thing. And the devil can slowly work his way into that by just making you make a decision that you shouldn't make, slower, and doing that once at a time. Then it's more and it's more and it's more. And it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. So all those things play into the battle that happens on a minute-by-minute basis almost.
Yeah. One last thing real quick on this topic. you kind of said this, breaking into that hesitation point of like doubting your first decision. In soccer, this is a big thing. So this is what my mind initially goes to. But you often hear this phrase like the first pass you see is often the best pass, because if you have to go to option 2 or option 3, it's, people are moving, defenders are moving, people are picking up on what you're thinking, right? Stuff like that. And so oftentimes, like if you see an open guy, that's the most open person you're going to see. And also in the Screw Tape letters, there's a period where he talks about like just sow a little bit of doubt. You don't have to like lay out every decision for why you shouldn't do this, right? You shouldn't have to lay out every choice. Like they're gonna do that themselves. And this is Wormtail talking to Wormtongue talking to Screw Tape or whatever. And so he's telling him that you just need to put a little tag in the armor. Like you just need to start that doubt creeping in just a little bit. Just give him a little pee, right? And so it's the same with us, right? If you convince yourself that it's a moral decision, and then your first thought is, "Ooh, man, but what about this?" As long as it's obviously not like something crazy, don't let your doubts, don't let that anxiety, that temptation creep in, that tiny thing, and start to multiply, because that's just as dangerous as as like just ultimately picking the wrong decision, right? Yep. Be staunch in your decision making.
Yeah, I like y'all's little sidetrack with that, but where I was, and the reason I bring up these 3 different types is because I kind of I want to figure out what type of goodness they're talking about in this, right? If they're saying I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. That's why my first question when we define these 3 types was, okay, what's the most common good that we do? Which part? And I think you both kind of disagreed. What you said, more moral good, and you said more natural good at the beginning.
Yeah, he came around.
Yeah. We worked our way through it. What I think is, I think the supernatural goodness, right? What the supernatural goodness is, that's that beatific vision. That's the goodness of being with God ultimately in the end in heaven. And I think supernatural goodness is kind of an encompassment of our natural goodness, our absolute goodness, and then our moral goodness. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I totally messed that up. Natural goodness and our moral absolute goodness. And I think that encapsulates both. I think there's more of a separation between our moral goodness and our natural goodness, if that makes sense. In particular, like our natural goodness is our human nature. That's our human desire, what we view as good, not from a moral standpoint, but from, okay, like when you mentioned like you ran or did soccer because that was good for your body. That's more of a natural desire. You want to do it I would say you want to do it because it's going to make your body more healthy.
So are you saying that the natural goodness is not aligned with our moral goodness?
I would say there's more of a separation between the two than there is between both of those and supernatural. I'm not saying that they can't coincide though. I think they can. I just don't think it's all the time.
Yeah. So what do you mean by separation?
Like more of a distinction. They're just more distinct. Like because supernatural goodness is, like I said, it's an accompanying. It encapsulates both. But I think you can do something naturally good, and it doesn't have to be it can be morally neutral is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be moral.
Neutrality. Is that a thing, Cole?
We're back to this.
We're talking about indifference. Neutrality, I think, is okay. Like eating, it's a sense of like, okay, eating a piece of cake. Is it morally neutral? Yes, you're not doing anything morally right or wrong. Okay.
It could be.
Okay.
Sidebar. Going into what I talked about with, does it align with my morals, values, virtues, and ethics, right? So if my values are, let's take Alex Crusoe, for example, right? If, I'm preparing for a bodybuilding show, right? Okay. And I know that I should not eat that cake, that is undoubtedly an amoral decision, because I know I've committed to myself, I've committed to others, I've made that pact with myself. I know that I should not eat that cake. And so not only am I lying to myself, but I'm lying to others. I'm lying to my diet. I'm lying to my coach. I'm doing all these things that, are whatever, right? And that's why, like, when professional athletes, Desmond Watson, right? You know who I'm talking about?
Desmond Watson?
Desmond Watson. The Bucks, he was a Bucks rookie that he didn't make weight, right? They signed him. He was a offensive lineman or something. He didn't make weight, and he apologized. He came out and he was like, "Look, I'm sorry, right? Y'all drafted me, like, he apologized to the organization. He apologized to his coaches. He was like, y'all drafted me, and I couldn't make weight, right? Because at the end of the day, like, it's not per se a moral decision, right? It doesn't look like a moral decision, but it is, because your virtues, your values, your ethics are, I'm going towards this goal, right? And so when you don't take the steps to do that, when you're dishonest to yourself, when you're dishonest to others, you're making an amoral decision.
Could you define amoral?
Not moral. Like,
Okay, that's
you're
what
making an unmoral, and not moral
Be
decision.
immoral?
Immoral. Thank you.
But amoral is a word too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
know.
amoral actually, like, there's a specific definition for that, because that is a.
But anyway.
Yeah, amoral. It's lacking a moral sense, unconcerned with the righteous or wrongness of something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're right about
Mm.
Yeah.
amoral.
So.
Well, but that would be.
What?
What about in a sense of, okay, tonight I have the options to play euchre or spades. Is one more moral than the other? I would say no. I would say, okay, I'm more drawn to this one because I think I'm better at it, and it's a better game.
I don't
That's-
think.
Okay.
That's natural.
But I don't
goodness,
think
wouldn't it be?
either. I don't think either. I don't think either is a drawback from your natural goodness. Like, when you're making that decision, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's no moral goodness, but both of those decisions are positive also for the, like, physical goodness.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm just trying to say that there is this distinction between those two types. Like, one is more recognizable in one action than in the another action, if that makes sense. Like, when I say, okay, I am going to, like, when euchre or spades, I choose spades, I choose euchre, whatever. Say I choose that, I'm not going to say that was a moral decision. No, I'm going to say I just think it's a good decision. I think I'd rather play that game. I'd say, and that in lines more with human nature. There is more of a human desire for goodness in that sense. And the reason
Compared to
I'm
what? There's
yeah,
a
but
more.
I think the difference is you're picking between, like, this is what I'm saying. You're picking between a good and a good.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, you're not required to make a moral decision because there's no. If it was,
that's all I've tried to say is not every decision has to be a moral decision. I'm just saying goodness. That's why there is this separation of goodness, because you can make it can be a naturally good decision that can be between two good things. It doesn't really have to be moral. You know what I'm getting? Like, what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be.
But the decision you're actually making is not, should I play euchre or should I play spades? It's, should I play euchre, should I play spades, or should I not play? Right?
Okay.
Because you're currently doing nothing. You can continue to do nothing, right?
Okay. But you want to play.
But you want to play. It aligns with your virtues, your values, your ethics, and your morals.
How does your want to play a card game align with your morals?
Desire to be in community. Can you play euchre by yourself?
But is that moral?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to find this distinction between
Yeah.
the two, because I think, like, these are different types of goodness.
Yeah.
And I do think they
Yeah.
are distinct still.
Yeah.
in their
So
own.
so in accounting,
Okay.
there's always, like, two. It's the, oh my gosh, what am I gonna say? There's always two entries into a journal, right? And it's
Yeah.
got to credit one and it's got to debit the other, right? So those have to balance in value and in number. You can have one credit, one debit, both in value and in balance, right? And so that's the same thing here. Like, if you make one, you have to make the other. It doesn't mean they're different things. Like, we're not doing the same thing, right? It's not, cash out, cash in. That's not how it works, right? They're different decisions. They're different goods, but they have to be in tandem with each other, right?
Hmm.
So I would say that anytime you make any decision, there's always going to be a moral decision component of it, just because that's the inherentness of making a decision, right? But it may have other goodness tied to it, right? Physical, spiritual, etc.
So
This is a long tandem. We're gonna have to go directly into PvP after this.
It's pretty interesting though, like, to talk about. I think, like, if we talk about different decisions, some like decisions are gonna require less of your moral sense to make that decision, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And more of your natural sense.
Yeah.
And so, like, what we're saying the scale is, and I think each scale changes with each decision and each action you're making. Like, some are going to be 80% moral, like, you need to boost this more, or 20 and then 20% natural, or the decision to play euchre and spades, where it's like 99% natural and then just your more desire to want to play in the end.
Yeah.
And so to bring this back to the quote, because we're talking about the quote, but we're describing
We're way
everything
off
in
in
it.
the hedge.
Yeah, but I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. In this instance, and the reason I wanted to break this down is because I really wanted to highlight the moral nature of this one in this sense. Like, when she is talking about the goodness that the world needs, she's talking about this moral goodness. She's talking about this goodness to participate in random acts of kindness with people, this goodness that allows other people to see the light in you, to guide other people to that light. And the reason I wanted to separate this distinction is because this is one of those decisions, I'm glad we talked about the scale, where it's, okay, she's referring to like 80% moral goodness and then that 20% of the natural goodness, because it does show the power that moral goodness has. And they work together in communion, and I like the way we're spending this, because I agree with you now. I think they work together in communion to achieve that supernatural goodness and that beatific vision. You use both consistently throughout your life to get there. Thank you, fist bump. Awesome. Cool beans. All right, are y'all good?
So yeah, let's head to the PPP. We will say this has to be a shorter episode. We're dealing with some scheduling issues this week, and it's just, we find the space to we're busy college students. We find the space to record when
We've
can.
got 20 minutes, so we're
Yeah,
okay.
and so sometimes the episodes are indicative of what our pattern of life looks like for that week. So without further ado, let's introduce our practical prayer practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the practical prayer practice of the week.
I don't miss the days when I had to make the noise and someone else had to voice over, and
The sounds were
Yeah.
fun.
it was
a good
fun.
time. It was a good time.
I don't miss them at all. Okay, do you want to?
Yeah, this is your PPP this week, man.
Yeah, so if I can hopefully.
Communication
so-
techniques.
Obviously, the quote, although we went on a very different tangent to define the goodness that we were talking about, it's still one of the main messages we're trying to get across is we all have a part to play, and we all have good that we need to do in our lives. So our practical prayer practice to incorporate both doing good and prayer is asking God to show you the good you can do today. So in the beginning of the day, you can, when you sit down for your morning prayer or however you do your morning prayer, just ask God, just bring him in and say, Lord, show me the good I can do today. It's as simple as that, and we hope that that takes you and guides you throughout your day, and that you really think about the decisions that you're making. Is this a good decision? Am I doing good in this decision? Because I don't know what the prayer is called in Mass, but we say, I believe this is correct. We say we're sorry for the good we could have done, for not doing the good. If you guys
That's a
remember?
paraphrase for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a paraphrase, but you guys know what
What
I'm
are you
talking
referring
about?
to? I have no
It's the
idea.
creed.
Is it the
Is
creed?
it?
It's a line in the creed.
Is it?
Really?
I'm trying to remember
Which one,
exactly.
Apostles or Nicene?
Nicene.
Okay.
But so it's not only about doing good, it's about times when we don't do good when we could. Those are those times when we talk about.
When I have failed to do good, or something.
I know
like that,
exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was when we hit the
Right
chest.
after
Yeah, what is
For my
is
fault,
that
for my fault, for my
fault,
most
no,
grievous
serious
fault.
fault.
Therefore,
Yeah.
my Blessed Father.
Why can I say this in Mass, but not?
Yeah, sorry guys, we are flubba-dubbing this,
Oh,
but
Just look up the Nicene Creed. Yeah,
it's
continue.
not the Nicene Creed.
Well, that is the Apostles' Creed then.
It's not the creed. It's earlier in the Mass than that.
It isn't the creed.
Oh,
it's
you're
early
right.
in the Mass. It's in the intro.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Yeah, sorry guys. This is
It's part of the Confiteor.
Confiteor.
Yeah, how do you say? I've never.
CONFITEOR.
Okay, here we go. Here we
Yep.
go. I
Yep.
got you guys. All right, here we go.
Therefore, my most blessed
I confess to Almighty God, to Blessed Virgin Mary, to Blessed Michael the Archangel, to Blessed. To Blessed. This is extension.
This is an
To
archaic
Blessed
version.
John the Baptist, to John the Baptist, to the holy apostles Peter and Paul, and to all the saints, that I have sinned exceedingly in thought, word, and deed, through my fault, through my most grievous fault. Therefore, I beseech the blessed Mary ever Virgin, blessed Michael, and all the saints to pray. Where does this talk about goodness?
Talk about
Dude,
goodness.
I'm convinced.
I-
We'll look
I-
this
I
up.
know.
We'll add an
There's a
addendum.
part-
We'll add an addendum there. I'm 100% on board with you.
Yeah.
We'll add an addendum. Keep
There's
going.
a part that it talks about for the things that I should have done that I
For
did
what
not
I have done
do.
and what I have failed
Paraphrase.
to do.
What I have failed to do.
It's
Thank
no,
you.
That's it.
no,
That's
no.
it.
It's in the
it
the
is
act
this.
of contrition.
That also as well.
Act of contrition as well.
So yes, what I have failed to do. So this is what I'm talking about. There are
It's right
times in our
before
lives
No,
That's
it's
my
a
fault.
confetor. I confess to
confidior.
what I have done and what I have failed.
what I have
to do.
failed
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
we
so-
found
Bang,
it. Sorry
dude.
for taking so
We're
long.
not total busts of
Yeah.
Catholics.
That was terrible.
Yes, what I have failed to do. So there are times in your life when you could have done something good and you failed to do it. So yeah, just practical prayer practice, asking God to show you the good you can do and to help you make the decision to do it. Because we talked about, Cole said the 80% of morality, the 20% of natural, but also the supernatural comes through the moral when we make those good decisions, when the Holy Spirit leads us to those good decisions and we make a choice for God, His will. And that is when we are putting on the image of Christ, when we make those decisions.
Yeah, and one more little thing that I wanted to say, just to add on so y'all can find where we're talking about these different types of goodness. The first one, natural, you can actually find in the Catechism. That's CCC 339 or 353 if you're looking for it. And then the other two are defined in Veritatis Splendor, which if you don't know what that is, it's an encyclical written by JP2. It's a really, really, really famous encyclical, very amazing writings. And that's Veritatis Splendor 72 and 78 for moral, and 72 and 78 for supernatural as well. Or for the supernatural, you can look in the Locunda Sane 34, which is from Pope Pius X, if you're more interested and researching. Yeah. That's my last
Do you guys have anything else on the practical prayer practice?
No.
All right. Let's move to our shepherd.
Ladies and gentlemen, the shepherd of the week.
Okay, so I'm really excited to talk about this saint because I have never prayed to a saint as much as I have prayed to Saint Anthony of Padua.
There's no shout that anyone on earth has ever prayed to the saint more than Cole Bissett.
1,000%.
Like it's
Like,
just
this is actually the most truthful thing he's ever said in his life.
it's so true. How many things did I lose this week?
A lot. Your
A lot.
keys twice, and
Keys
I didn't
twice.
even see you this week.
Your
And he knew
wallet.
about it.
Yeah.
Your wallet for sure
My
once.
keys twice, my wallet once. What else? My headphones. I haven't found them this
Definitely your headphones.
What else have we got
Your
on the
plate. You'd make
plate.
food and then you'd lose it, either in your room or the kitchen, and you'd
I
have
have
to
done
walk
that
all
once
the
or
way
twice.
back to
Your
the
computer
kitchen.
charger?
My computer charger for a
Oh,
little
phone
bit.
charger.
Phone
Are you
charger.
eternally coming in here
No,
asking
I
for a
found my
phone charger?
I think. Oh, what was a good one that I lost this week? What was it? Oh crap.
But anyway,
Oh, my
Anyway.
laundry. I forgot it in the laundry room.
I feel like that's a big one. Saint Anthony of Padua is our shepherd of the week. Obviously, he's the patron of lost things. Can you look up his additional
I got it.
patronages for me? The reason I kind of picked him, though, is this is the time of the semester where I feel like I'm starting to lose my mind just because there's so much stuff on the schedule. You got classes. For me, I have a lot of group meetings. A lot of the MBA is group meetings. So classes, I got group meetings, I got assignments, we got reading, you got all your personal stuff, you got mass, you got adoration, you got confession, you got hanging out with Caroline, we got the girlfriends, Cole's got playing FIFA, all this types of different stuff. I'm glad he's smiling. All this types of different stuff that you kind of have to manage. And so, I'm always like kind of praying to Anthony of Padua a little bit during this time because I feel like I'm losing my mind. But also it's kind of that lost time, right? Like I go back and I'm like, okay, I lost, I had to stay after class to talk to this teacher, right? And I lost 20 minutes and that kind of threw my schedule off for the day, right? And I would really like that time back. And, maybe one of my other meetings will end 20 minutes early and it's just suddenly like, hey, cool. I have that time back, right? Like I'm back on track and things like that. So, I always find myself praying to him just a little bit more in this season of life that we're in. I remarked to Caroline that this year was my first day of 17th grade. She called me an unk. This is a very unique season to students alone, students and teachers. And the other thing is,
Isn't technically your 16th? Because
Uh,
you graduated in 3
no.
years.
well, we actually did this. It counts as my 17th. It does.
Okay.
Yeah, just like when you skip a grade or get held back a grade in elementary school, you don't get up, right? So like if you get held back in 3rd grade, it's just your first day of 3rd grade again. Your first day of 3rd grade. But yeah, also pray for your teachers, man. You know, I just came from a meeting with my research director, and you know, I was kind of asking him how the start of the semester was going. He was like, "It's good. You know, I've taught this class before, but it's a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work. It's the same thing for them. They feel like they're losing their mind. They have research, they have meetings, they have classes, they have meetings with students, they have TAs, they have all this stuff going on. So just, you know, pray for them with their lost time, with their lost mind, with, you know, physically losing things. I walk into teachers' offices most of the time, and it looks like an absolute bomb went off in there. So I can't just imagine the paperwork and the material sorting that they have to do at the end of the week. So yeah, Anthony Padua, the additional patronages were just that thing.
Yeah, he's got he's a patron saint of the poor, of sailors and fishermen, of
Yeah.
priests and travelers, a protector and guardian of the males, and a wonder worker. And he is the patron saint
The
of lost
males?
things. I don't know what that means.
Patron saint of the what?
The males,
What does that say?
protector and guardian of the males.
MALES.
MAILS.
Males,
Male.
like the mailman.
Yeah,
Like
protector of the
male you
male.
were- yeah, the male.
Like the
I don't know
male.
why it says males plural on here.
Yeah, I don't know.
This
I
is
think
from the
that's
Franciscan Friars of the Atonement. So, but he is also the patron saint of lost things due to a legend about a valuable PSALTER Psalter
Salter.
he used, which was stolen by a novice friar. So he's kind of legend, very big part of my life, and the only reason that I end up finding everything that I lose. So yeah, Saint Anthony of Padua, big shout out. Other than that, y'all
Ladies
want
and
final
gentlemen,
thoughts? Or we
hold
just
on,
close
hold
it?
on, hold on,
Ladies
hold
and
on.
gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a close member of Cole, or you've been around him for any time,
Close member. of
there
Cole.
there
Close
is
member of Cole, that's a really good thing to say.
nothing more funny than when Cole finally finds something and his reaction. It is quite the time to be like, dude, come on.
Exasperation.
it is
It's
so
always
funny.
exasperation or like just disgust. It's
Well,
absolute
it's-
disgust. Like he'll find it, he'll be like,
I knew it was
and then
right
walk
there.
off.
It's always right there. It's
Yeah.
always the same place I leave it, you know?
Yeah.
It's never.
It doesn't grow legs and walk away. I'm shocked.
The worst-
You're always shocked.
The worst one was this week when I lost my wallet because I was so. I looked everywhere. I mean, it was so bad. I dug out our trash because I had thought
He told me, don't throw the trash bag away. I need to look through it.
I thought it fell out of the trash bag, and so I dug everything out of the trash and I couldn't find it. But I waited for Zach all day to get home because I knew it was in his car, and he finally got home, and I saw him walk in, and I had my Bible study at that time, and I was like, Cole, you're in Bible study. Don't ask better right now. And so I waited the whole hour of Bible study, and then I walked inside, and I said, Zach, it's not in your car, is it? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he said, I think you should look around the house a little more. And he had set it on the corner of our desk as we came in. And I freaked out and gave him a big hug. It was nice. Very pleasant.
Yeah, it was probably there the whole time actually. Yeah, but without further ado, I mean, you know, final thoughts. Do y'all have any final thoughts? I feel like we did a lot of
Yeah, I think we talked about this
diverse
pretty well.
yapping
Yeah.
today.
Just remember the 3 types of goodness. Remember that they all, in the end, align towards the supernatural goodness and that beatific vision. And what the lady, I don't forget her name. What's her name?
Jana Stanfield.
What she's trying to say in this quote is like really live up your moral goodness because it is infectious. I always say that Jesus glow is a real thing, and it's so true. You can tell when you meet somebody that is truly living out their life with that goodness, and you can tell God is being reflective through them when you can really see Jesus in a person. So yeah, my little final bubble. Anything
Yeah.
else?
I got nothing.
Yeah, just don't make life bigger than it is. You have a little bubble. Live in your little bubble. Be okay with that. And the little way of love. There was a quote from St. Teresa of Lisieux. Little way of love. Do the little things. And Mother Teresa also says, do little things with love, and it will go a long way. So be simple. Don't make it more difficult than it is. And remember that we are all one body. We must do our part as members of the body. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Lost Sheep Podcast. I'm Nazario Pangallo. Cole Bissett has one more thing to say.
Nazario failed to plug, which
I did at the
Plugged at
beginning.
the
So
beginning.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Man, I was absent
Which is a
of
good
that.
switch. It's a good switch to do at the
Okay,
beginning.
sorry. Go back, end it. Finish.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Lost Sheep Podcast. I'm Nazario Pangallo. This has been episode number 66. God bless.